$59.
Anyone can make me a loan?
Your last
Next time.
balance was $4,000.
So this is a man-in-the-middle attack where I trick somebody by calling a telephone number that belongs to me. As they call in, I call out to the real bank, and I'm in the middle. And nobody could tell the difference. Now we're going to do this really quick with a bank here, Dava something. Dava Venida or something like that? So, my girlfriend here speaks Spanish, I don't, so we're going to have her call the phone number. Come on up. Okay, thank you. So now you'll see that she'll do it with her Colombian credentials here. I know.
Por favor, ingrese su clave personal. Gracias.
So this,
Para empezar, escribió patio. Para empezar, patio.
that's our Colombian ID number, don't write it down. Thanks for your opinion. Is that saying you got access? Okay, so she got, I don't understand Spanish, but it demonstrates even through Colombian banks this works. Okay, go change your PIN now. Quickly, quickly, there's people dialing the phone. All right, so there's the example of the new evolution of phishing is man-in-the-middle attack on IVR systems. So like I said, you press down on the fraud bubble, it's going to pop up somewhere else, as always. So let me get back in. It's scary, you could have somebody here at like Juan Valdel's coffee shop doing this. And a lot of people's credentials could be lost. Has everyone heard of malicious code like Trojan horses, viruses, and worms? You're all you're on computers all the time, so you know what this type of malicious code is, right? You know, everyone here knows what a Trojan horse is. It's like someone supplies you with a program that seems useful, but it contains secret embedded code that does things you don't want, like logs every keystroke you type, those type of things. Well, one of these other cool tricks that some of you may or may not know is if you were at your company or school, let's say you're at your school, you walk into the cafeteria, and all of a sudden on the ground, you spot a USB drive. It's kind of cool, you know, you look at it, it's 2 gigabytes, what is it, 30,000 pesos at Udi Largo, and you go, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I'll pop it in my machine at the office or at home, take a look, what's on there. Yeah, wouldn't you do that? I would. Come on, say yes. Okay, so let me show you what happens when you plug Kevin Mitnick's USB drive into your computer. So, let's give it a shot. So if we could put the Dell on one side and the Mac on the other. Okay. Now this computer, I'm remote desktop, connected to this computer in Salt Lake City, Utah. Here, it's like a Windows 2008 machine. This is the attacker machine. This is like where I'm sitting at home in Salt Lake City, Utah, if I live there. This is you, the guy running Windows that finds the USB drive. So what happens? With the drive, let's see if there's any good pictures on here. You plug it in, and maybe some pictures pop up, and as you're perusing the pictures, you don't know what's going on in the background. Now, as you can see on this side, where I'm the attacker in the United States, now we have latency issues here, where it takes a little time to paint the screen, it might take up to 30 seconds. But actually, when you install the USB drive, it creates a reverse VNC connection. So I could basically watch everything you do. It might take a few seconds to come up. I was having some latency issues before. Oh, there we go, finally. So then everything I do on the Dell, remember, I'm the spy here, so I go on the Dell. You know, I'm doing my work, I'm typing in my passwords, whatever. I'm doing directories. Again, there's some latency, but I'm like the invisible man watching everything you do. On the other side of the coin is if you go to lunch or away from your computer, I can now control your computer through this. I can just here and type dir, takes a moment, but I have full control of the victim's machine simply because they plugged in my USB drive. So, because you seem like a great audience, and probably a lot of you want copies of my presentation today, I give it to you on USB. I shouldn't tell anybody to keep a jar of USB drives. I'm just kidding about the USB though. I don't have it. So, and then if I want to, like, you could be like malicious, and I want to shut down the computer. Again, there's latency on this side. Shut down. As you can see, it's much faster than the machine I'm controlling. VNC is really slow. That's why I never use it. Whatever. I'll just shut this machine. But you get the idea. So you might want to think twice when you plug in a USB drive, especially if it's a suspicious source. Yeah. Even with PDF and Word files, even Trojans could be embedded in Word, Excel, PDFs, and I'll talk about a story later. This is a different USB drive. This is kind of cool. You ever go into companies, like businesses, and they have their computer there where the public sees it and their USB drives are exposed? You plug this in, you wait 30 seconds, and all their last 50 recent files are now on the USB, all automatic, plug and play. So the thing is, you might want to turn auto run off, because if you turn auto run off, this attack doesn't work. That's why I love Windows, right? That's why you see me out in the back. Another social engineering attack, and would you believe it, some businesses still use dial-up modems, especially for SCADA, right? Now, I'm going to explain this because it kind of gives you an example. When a hacker is using social engineering, they want to target somebody that's least likely to know the value of the information. So if the hacker wants to get the dial-up modems for SCADA, you know what SCADA is? It's supervisory control, acquisition, data, something. It's for controlling critical infrastructure. I forgot what the acronym is. In any event, does the hacker contact the IT department, the help desk, to get the dial-up numbers? No. They want to find somebody in the organization that is least likely to know the value of the information. So what can the attacker do? Call another department of the company called accounts payable. Why? Because accounts payable pays the bills. So they're paying the telephone provider. So rather than the attacker targeting a group or a department that knows the value of the dial-up numbers, target some lady in accounts payable that is completely clueless about the value of the dial-up numbers. And the same thing with the VPN access information. So sometimes help desks in some businesses don't realize the value. This is so easy. Convince a target to visit a website that you've poisoned with a technical exploit. And every day you can go to Millworm or a whole bunch of sites that host exploit code, especially Internet Explorer. And all you have to do is build a website and then Well, first of all, the attacker has to find out that that business uses Internet Explorer, which isn't really difficult. You can imagine calling a company up, offering them free printers. Oh, and with the free printers, we have to send you an installation disk. Are you on Explorer or Firefox? You know, something as ridiculous as that, you could do the information gathering to determine the browser that company uses. You might not get whether it's 7 or 8, or whether it's a very, a patch level IE6, but you're going to get information. So now, let's assume you find out it's IE7, and they're vulnerable to an older XML exploit. So you build a website that exploits the vulnerability, maybe downloads a Trojan to their computer. But then you call somebody within the company, the attacker calls a person and actually walks somebody through visiting that site. And then it's like a 99% chance that they're going to go ahead and visit. A lot of hackers send it through email. Oh, please click on this link. That might work 20, 30% of the time. But imagine somebody calls up a vendor, a supplier, a customer, a partner, and says, I'm having a problem going to this website, can you try it for me? And the URL is reasonable, it's likely going to happen. What happens when the target visits the site? It exploits a vulnerability in the browser and gives the attacker full control of the machine. And there's lots of examples of this if you use there's a nice tool, a framework called Metasploit. You might want to take a look at it. Secure ID pins. Remember I told you about secure ID, you need the token, you need the pin? I just wanted to give you a quick example. 2 weeks ago I did a pen test for a multi-million-dollar company in the United States. I got in through exploiting a technical vulnerability, or actually several vulnerabilities that let me get access to their network. They had a file server. I found under the help desk account on the file server, they actually had the soft tokens for every employee, because now, rather than hand out hard tokens, you can now get a soft token and load it in your BlackBerry, your iPhone. Well, having the token file is analogous to actually having the token. So I copied all the tokens because this was a legitimate pen test. And then I looked at who was last issued the token. And it turned out some director of some department has sent a token a week ago. So I did a little bit of information gathering and found out the names of the individuals that worked at the help desk. And there was a guy named Steve. So I simply called the lady that was issued the token. I go, hey, hi Bonnie, this is Steve over at the help desk. Did you get that RSA token ID working in your BlackBerry? She goes, yes, I did. So-and-so helped me install it last week. Over the weekend, I was logged into the network and everything's working great. I said, that's fantastic, but even better, we just upgraded our RSA Secure ID software, so I need to walk you through resetting everything. She goes, okay, Steve, I'll be right over at the help desk. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Well, of course, I was 3,000 miles away. I wasn't at their help desk. I said, yeah, that's no problem, honey. You can come over. I can help you over the phone. It'll take 10 to 15, maybe 10 minutes if you come over to the help desk. But if I do it over the phone, 2 minutes. She goes, okay, let's do it over the phone. I said, okay, Bonnie, let me verify we have accurate information on you. And I already had access to the file servers. So I had her, I said, her name, her email address, her cubicle number, and only an authorized employee would know this information. I'm just telling her what it is. And then I go, okay, Bonnie, I have to reset you up in the system, and I'm typing on a keyboard, and it gets sound like I'm communicating with a computer. I said, one thing I need to do is we need to create you a new PIN code for RSA Secure ID, so pick a new PIN. Well, knowing how the human nature, I knew that she was going to likely choose the same new PIN as her current PIN. So she told me her PIN was like 3424. I said, Bonnie, we show that as your current PIN. She goes, yeah, that's my current PIN too. I rolled my eyes, of course. I said, okay, no problem. We'll go ahead and set that PIN, and you should be good to go this weekend. Thank you very much, goodbye. I mean, this is 2 weeks ago, right? And it worked. Why did this work? I knew she was recently issued the token. I knew she had a BlackBerry, and I knew her email address, her cubicle number, and all this information, so it made me appear credible, and it worked like a charm. So now that I had the token and I had the PIN, I had complete access to the network through their secure ID portal. But let me tell you a better story. I'm sure you guys want to hear a story from my unethical hacking past, right? Everybody does. All right, I'll share it with you. So rewind back to 1993. I was living in Denver, Colorado.